The Old Fashioned. The cocktail was first defined on May 6, 1806 in the Balance and Columbian Repository as a stimulating liqueur comprised of spirits of any kind, sugar, water, and bitters. The Old Fashioned is just a simple mix of a spirit, sugar, water, and bitters. Any combination will actually get you an Old Fashioned. There's the right way to make it, my way, and then the wrong way to make it, every other way anyone else has ever made it. Today, on Bits and Bites, Old Fashioned. And here we are at the bar, ready to make an Old Fashioned. When you order an Old Fashioned at the bar, what do you even expect? Are you getting bourbon? Are you getting rye? Are you getting a mix of the two? Are you getting Canadian well whiskey? Do you specify? Or do you just not know what you want when you go to a bar and you say, I'll have an Old Fashioned? It's a confusing drink, and it's not something that I order often because they're often poorly made. And I'm going to make a classic version, technically right from the book, which is not my favorite version. As we said earlier, an Old Fashioned is essentially a very basic cocktail back from Prohibition era, consisting of bitters, sugar, and alcohol. Now you have to think back to Prohibition era when things were really raw and they were making booze in tubs, and it wasn't as smooth as a product that you could purchase from a bottle that you could just swig straight and really kind of enjoy. It was a little rough back then. So the idea was to add the sugar and the bitters to offset the brutalness of the alcohol. So that being said, I like it a little bit different than the classic way, but let's start and make it the classic way. The classic way involves muddling. Now, the oldest recipe I could find uses lemon instead of an orange, which is more traditional, so we're going to throw a lemon in there. And then you're going to need a cherry. So we're using some maraschino cherries today, but you can use any type of cherry that you can get your hands on. Those bright red cherries, those are very traditional, especially in the Midwest. Now, traditionally in the book, you would use a sugar cube saturated in Angostura bitters. So Angostura bitters are a large part of this cocktail. But instead of using straight sugar, I have a 2-to-1 diluted simple syrup that I will squeeze into the bottom. So Angostura bitters on top of our sugar is the product. 3 to 5 splashes depending on how you want it. So again, remember, this is about the spirit being diluted by what is going to be muddled fruit on fruit with sugar. That's the whole bit here. So, and when you're muddling, you want to get the ridges of the fruit. You don't want to really make a fruit salad. It's kind of gross. You want to get the zest and the pith and really get all of that going in there and kind of make a nice mix. On top of that, you're going to want to add bourbon or rye. Is up to you. I prefer, in my version, a mix of the two, as we'll see in a moment. But traditionally, it calls for bourbon, which leans on the sweeter side than the rye. So we'll do 3 ounces of bourbon. I like to build this whole cocktail in the glass as such and add ice on top, because part of this drink to me is the dilution effect. So you can take your muddler and in effect to clean it off, kind of give it a stir. So we use the simple syrup in here instead of the granulated sugar. This part here is where you would get your granulated sugar dissolved. Since we have a 2-to-1 simple syrup, this will be diluted in here almost like a tea. We're going to top this off with some ice. Give it a final stir just to saturate the ice and get it looking all nice. And to me, that is a classic Old Fashioned. Not my version, but a classic Old Fashioned. To make my Old Fashioned, we're going to be building it in the glass. And we're going to start with the 2-to-1 simple syrup. I like to use enough simple syrup just to cover the bottom of the glass. As long as it's looking down there, you're good to go. Next step. Angostura bitters, traditional like the normal, I like to do 2-to-1 on the bitters to 1 part orange bitters. I find the 2 play very well together in not only this cocktail, but many, many others. But more importantly, the orange bitters are going to take the place of the orange fruit salad muddle taking place in the original Old Fashioned. I see no reason not to utilize 2 different bitters to get those aromatics and those compounds that you're getting from making a fruit salad that essentially looks like a disgusting pile of gross in the bottom of my drink. So again, traditionally this is built with bourbon, but we also have a blend of rye in my version. So I have 3 different ryes here, but what I'm generally looking for is a higher proof rye. So what I mean by higher proof is a higher alcohol content. This is Wild Turkey 101 rye whiskey, which means this is 101 proof. as opposed to this Woodford Reserve, which is 90 proof, roughly 45% alcohol. I like an even split of these two. And I also like to split the cocktail building in the glass while it's still liquid with no ice. Because I think this drink is all about the dilution effect while you drink it. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is we have some very potent rye going in here with this sweeter, softer bourbon. Now, this cocktail is being built in the glass here, and we could give it a stir, and as you can see, as opposed to the traditional version, this is all liquid. We can see right through this. This is all liquid, but you still have your sweetener, you still have your aromatics coming from the two bitters, and now we have the complexity of bourbon and rye together in the glass. And by mixing it prior to icing it, we're already creating, this to me would be the cocktail. Now we're gonna add the ice, and now we're adding a dilutionary effect, which is going to be great as we drink the cocktail. It's going to evolve as we drink it, which is very important. Water is a big part of cocktails. In this cocktail, the water is a huge component, because as you take your first sip of this drink, it's going to be very potent, very rough around the edges. And as you move forward throughout your night drinking this cocktail, it's going to dilute more with the water, and it's going to become a softer, smoother drink. And then when you have your second one, it's going to punch you in the face again. And when you have a third one, you should question what you're doing. That's my old fashioned. I hope you enjoy it. And there you have it. That's how you make the old fashioned the right way. Hope you enjoy. Have fun making them at home. Cheers to you. Thanks for watching. Bits and Bites Old Fashioned.